Welcome to a deep dive.
Mm.
Today we're looking into a company, one that's quite literally building the future of India,
Yeah.
NBCC India Limited.
Yeah.
We've got this really fascinating mix of, reports and articles
Right.
that paint a picture of NBCC's journey
Mm-hmm.
from, just a civil construction firm to a major player in everything
Yeah.
from, urban redevelopment to international projects.
And it's interesting, how closely tied they are to India's overall development story.
Right.
This isn't just about buildings, right? It's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
understanding how a company can shape a nation's progress.
Right. It's not every day we get to explore a company that's achieved, Navratna enterprise status.
Right.
What exactly does that even mean in the Indian business landscape?
So essentially, it signifies a very high level of trust from the Indian government.
Mm.
And, these companies are given more operational autonomy
Yep.
and are often entrusted with projects of national importance.
Right.
It really speaks volumes about NBCC's capabilities and their track record.
Looking at your sources, it's fascinating how NBCC evolved from its, 1960s roots
Yeah.
as a purely construction-focused company.
Yeah.
What were the key turning points that led them to become this diversified giant under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs?
Well, one key turning point was their expansion into project management consultancy,
Okay.
or PMC.
Okay.
While they still do construction through their EPC division,
Right.
focusing on PMC allowed them to leverage their expertise on a much larger scale.
Okay.
They essentially become the masterminds behind major projects,
Mm-hmm.
overseeing everything from planning and design to execution and quality control.
And that shift to PMC seems to have really paid off.
Yeah.
The financials in your sources show that it now contributes over 90% of their revenue.
Exactly. That tells us they've become incredibly successful at managing complex projects, which
Yeah.
is often where the biggest profits lie in this industry.
Okay, let's talk about some of those projects
Yeah.
because they're pretty impressive.
Yeah.
We're talking about the redevelopment of entire government colonies in Delhi.
Yeah.
Can you give us a sense of the scale and impact of these projects?
Imagine, transforming entire neighborhoods, not just individual buildings.
Wow.
These projects involve relocating residents, demolishing old structures,
Yeah.
and then constructing, modern, sustainable housing complexes.
Huh.
The impact on the urban landscape is significant.
And it's not just about aesthetics, right?
No, not at all.
These projects aim to improve living conditions,
Yeah,
create green spaces, and enhance the overall quality of life for residents.
absolutely. It's urban renewal on a massive scale.
Yeah.
And speaking of scale, their involvement in border infrastructure projects along the Indo-Pak and Indo-Bangladesh regions is another example of their capacity to handle, complex and strategically important projects.
These projects are fascinating because they have implications for national security and international relations.
Right.
It shows that NBCC is entrusted with projects that go beyond just bricks and mortar.
Right. And then you have their international portfolio,
Yeah.
which is where things get really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They've completed projects in Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia.
Wow.
These projects, like the Mahatma Gandhi Convention Centers in Africa,
Right.
demonstrate their ability to, compete on a global stage.
And that raises a key question.
Yeah.
What's the strategic significance
Right.
of this international expansion for NBCC?
It's about diversifying their revenue streams and, building a reputation as a global player.
Okay.
It also allows them to gain experience in different markets and regulatory environments, which
Mhm.
could be valuable as India's own infrastructure ambitions grow.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah. It's clear that NBCC is thinking big, not just domestically,
Yeah.
but globally.
Right.
But let's shift gears a bit and
That's
talk
it.
about their financial performance.
Sure.
After all, you, our listener, are likely interested in what makes them a potentially sound investment.
Yeah, and there's a lot to unpack here.
Okay.
First off, NBCC is publicly listed on both the National Stock Exchange,
Uh-huh.
NSE, and the Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE,
Right.
which means anyone can invest in them.
That's right. But what's interesting to me is
Yeah.
their consistent dividend payments since 2007.
Right.
That's not something you see every day, especially in the construction sector,
Yeah.
which can be quite cyclical.
It speaks to their financial stability and their
Yes.
commitment to rewarding shareholders.
Okay.
And then there's their massive order book,
Right.
exceeding 60,000 crore,
Wow.
which gives us a glimpse into their future revenue potential.
That order book includes, major urban redevelopment projects,
Yeah.
infrastructure contracts, and even international ventures.
Uh-huh.
It's a pretty diverse portfolio.
And that diversification is key.
Uh-huh.
It helps them mitigate risk and weather economic downturns.
Yeah.
Plus, a significant portion of their projects are government-backed, which adds another layer of stability.
So from an investor's perspective,
Yeah.
that government backing is like a seal of approval, right?
Right.
It reduces risk and instills confidence.
Exactly. Government projects tend to be large-scale and long-term, which provides a predictable stream of revenue for NBCC.
Okay.
It also reduces their dependence on private sector contracts, which
Right.
can be more volatile.
Now, you mentioned sustainability earlier.
Yeah.
How is NBCC incorporating green building practices and sustainable technologies into their projects?
They've been quite proactive on that front.
Okay.
They're integrating renewable energy sources, using eco-friendly construction materials,
All right.
and designing buildings that minimize energy consumption.
Right.
They're even involved in projects that promote waste management and water conservation.
It seems like they're really trying to align themselves with
Yeah.
India's push for a more sustainable future.
Yeah.
And it makes sense from a business perspective, too, as sustainable construction
Right.
is becoming increasingly important globally.
It's no longer just a niche market.
Right.
Clients are demanding it.
Yeah.
And investors are rewarding companies that prioritize sustainability.
Uh-huh.
NBCC's involvement in the Smart Cities mission is a great example of this.
Okay.
They're playing a key role in creating urban environments that are both technologically advanced and environmentally responsible.
And their work on affordable housing projects
Right.
shows a commitment to social impact alongside sustainability.
Yeah.
It's not just about building fancy skyscrapers.
Right.
It's about addressing critical societal needs.
Right. They're trying to create housing
Right,
that's
yeah.
not only affordable but also energy efficient and environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
It's a holistic approach that benefits both residents and the planet.
So we've talked about their projects,
Yeah.
their financials, their sustainability efforts.
Yeah.
But what about the people behind NBCC?
Right.
What kind of talent are they attracting to drive this ambitious agenda?
That's a crucial question.
Yeah.
And it seems they've been successful in attracting top-tier talent
Okay.
in engineering, construction management, architecture,
Uh,
and project finance.
yeah.
They've built a reputation as a company
Okay.
that invests in its employees and offers opportunities for professional growth.
And that's essential in a field that's constantly evolving.
Right.
You need people who are not only skilled, but also adaptable and innovative.
Absolutely. The construction industry is being disrupted by new technologies, such as 3D printing, building information modeling, BIM,
Yeah.
and advanced materials.
Okay.
NBCC needs to stay ahead of the curve to remain competitive.
Now, no company is without its challenges.
Right.
What are some potential hurdles that NBCC might face in the years ahead?
One major challenge is managing risk.
Okay.
Large-scale infrastructure projects are inherently complex
Yeah.
and susceptible to delays, cost overruns, and regulatory changes.
Right.
NBCC needs to be, vigilant in its risk management strategies.
And competition is heating up, both domestically and internationally.
Right.
How can NBCC maintain its edge in this crowded market?
They'll need to leverage their strengths,
Okay.
such as their government relationships, their track record of successful project delivery,
Yeah.
and their expertise in integrating sustainability and technology.
Right.
They also need to be agile and adaptable to respond to changing market dynamics.
And let's not forget about the global economic landscape.
Right.
We're seeing a lot of uncertainty and volatility right now.
Yeah.
How might that impact NBCC's operations?
That's a significant concern.
Yeah.
Economic downturns can lead to project cancellations, financing difficulties,
Right.
and fluctuations in material costs.
Yeah.
NBCC will need to, carefully monitor global economic trends and make strategic adjustments as needed.
It's like navigating a ship through uncharted waters.
Yeah.
You need a skilled captain and a resilient crew.
Exactly. And from what we've seen in your sources,
Yeah.
NBCC seems, well equipped to handle these challenges.
Okay.
They have a history of adapting to changing circumstances
Yeah.
and finding innovative solutions.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We've looked at NBCC's history,
Yeah.
their projects,
Yeah.
their financials, their sustainability efforts, and the potential challenges they face.
Yeah.
But what's your overall takeaway? What stands out to you about this company?
What fascinates me is how NBCC has managed to position itself at the nexus of infrastructure development, social impact, and economic growth.
Right? Yeah.
They're not just building structures. They're building a vision for a better India.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
They're contributing to India's progress on multiple fronts.
Right.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
We've talked about NBCC's, impressive projects and their ambitious goals,
Yeah.
but let's bring it back to the individual level.
Okay.
How does all of this translate to, tangible benefits
Yeah.
for everyday people in India?
Well, that's a really important question.
Yeah.
Think about those redeveloped government colonies we mentioned.
Right.
They're not just about creating a more modern cityscape.
Yeah.
They're also about providing thousands of families with better living conditions,
Okay.
improved infrastructure, and a higher quality of life.
It's easy to get caught up in the grand scale of these projects.
Right.
But it's crucial to remember the human impact.
Absolutely. And it's not just about urban areas.
Yeah.
NBCC's involvement in building hospitals and educational institutions,
Right.
even in rural areas,
Yeah.
has a ripple effect across society.
Mhm.
It improves access to healthcare and education,
Right.
which are,
Yeah.
fundamental building blocks for a nation's progress.
So their work goes beyond just bricks and mortar.
Right.
It's about investing in human capital.
Yeah.
And creating opportunities for a better future.
Exactly. And when you combine that with their efforts in transportation infrastructure,
Right.
you start to see how they're connecting people, facilitating economic growth, and really weaving themselves into the fabric of India's development.
It's like they're laying the groundwork for a more connected
Right.
and prosperous India.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that all of this is happening within the context of India's
Right.
Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative,
Right.
which emphasizes self-reliance.
Right. That initiative encourages domestic companies like NBCC
Yeah.
to step up and play a bigger role in nation building.
And it seems like NBCC is embracing that challenge.
Uh,
They're not just fulfilling government contracts. They're actively contributing to India's vision for a more self-reliant future.
So we've explored NBCC's remarkable journey,
Yeah.
their impact on India's development,
Right.
and even some of the challenges they might face.
Uh-huh.
We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
but I'm sure there's much more to discover.
And that's the beauty of a deep dive, isn't it?
Right.
It sparks curiosity and encourages, further exploration.
Right.
We've only scratched the surface here.
Exactly. And that's what we want to leave you with today.
Okay.
We've given you the tools to understand NBCC's significance.
Uh-huh.
Now it's your turn to dig deeper,
Right.
explore their projects, read about their initiatives,
Yeah.
and consider how they fit into the larger picture of India's growth story.
And as you do,
Yeah.
think about the future.
Oh?
How might NBCC's role evolve as India continues to rise as a global power?
Right.
What new challenges and opportunities will they encounter? These
Yeah.
are these are fascinating questions to ponder.
We've given you a lot to think about today.
Yeah.
But we hope it's inspired you to learn more about NBCC
Yeah.
and the incredible things they're doing in India and beyond.
Absolutely.
Until next time,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.